Imagine a world where fiction and non-fiction were the same thing. And then imagine the same existence where a deck building game turns its back on the shackles of partnership and goes full complexity. Aloha and welcome to Imperium in 5 minutes or less. In your hands quite literally lies the destiny of a great civilization, be it historical as in the classics box or made up like with the legends box. Being under threat of constant attack, you must conquer science and culture the minizzle out of the rules, lest ye become the forgotten. Imperium is a pure deck builder, incorporating both the familiar in the form of having a starting deck of cards that you upgrade throughout a game, and the unfamiliar in that all of the cards available to each of the asymmetric factions are completely different. Not just in mechanics and theme, but also in organisation, meaning that no setup procedure or playstyle is exactly the same. The enabler for all this is the 3 actions you take each turn, which translates in most instances to playing 3 cards from your hand, and juggling resources representing your power, workforce and materials as you go. Or you can use your turn to gobble up a card from the marketplace at nil cost, and without taking unrest cards that gum up your deck. But what propels players to the endgame is moving through your deck, unlocking cards that develop your civilization, whether it's the pivotal evolution from barbarians to a fully fledged empire, the passive effects you can gain access to, or the points grab cards you can obtain. The game at its core is both a race and an exercise in synergizing with your faction's objectives the most efficiently. So why might you like it? Well, one thing's for sure is that the factions have been painstakingly designed, both functionally and thematically, so that each showcase a subtly different flavour of the game, represented by both cultural reference points and the way they play, mimicking the feeling of playing a different mini-game each time, without the need to actually learn a different set of rules. Which leads nicely into effort and reward, because this isn't an easy game to get to grips with, but once you understand the core concepts, there's a boatload of payoff on the other side. Whether it's simply min-maxing the mechanics of the game and the content of your deck, or the thematic representations of how each of the civilizations evolve, there's always a reason to get it back to the table. And this is why the game has replayability written all over it. With 8 factions in each box, and with them uncovering their nuances and eccentricities like the peeling of an onion, there's a great deal to come back to. Not only that, the way they interact with each other in multiplayer, or even against the bot in solo, adds one more dimension to the available possibilities. But why might you not like it? Well, there's the barriers to entry that include a somewhat onerous, albeit necessary setup both for the communal and personal areas, and then you have the reliance on iconography and the fairly threadbare set of rules that don't make a marriage made in heaven, which is then topped off with an equally arduous packing away process. And now, although there's a decent amount of interactivity with other players on the cards you play, it rarely extends to the whole table. And with no communal area to represent conflicts and control, it's hard to feel engaged during downtime. Furthermore, each player turn feels very insular, which is part and parcel of most Euro-style games, but this takes it a step further away from being a collective experience. Although Imperium does stand very much alone, if you're looking for games that share similarities as a point of reference, consider Sid Meier's Civilization and Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. And so to close, these 2 games show how far you can take deck building up the complexity ladder without the wheels falling off. Alas, I have been the voice of Benji, and this video has ended. So come on, what are ya? Fiction or non-fiction? Reality or fantasy? Fact or imagination? Pray tell.